And I have to think, Jason Miller, you got to tell me, like, there must have been a decision on his part not to be his normal freewheeling off-prompter self for some reason.
Well, I think there are a couple of things that go into it, Megyn. First off, you only get one introduction speech. Of course, in 2015, he had the iconic come down the escalator moment, but the kickoff speeches or kickoff interviews haven't always gone well for certain candidates. Go back to Ted Kennedy, 1980, for example. So coming out and laying out the clear case of why you're running is critical. It's one of the, as you remember the old adage, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Now, the reason why that's important is because President Trump hasn't really had an unfettered access to go and get his message out on something that's coming across and say the mainstream media, even Fox News, NBC, probably going back to convention in 2020. This was his chance to come out and lay down that marker. So number one, he needed to make sure that not only his base, but the sometimes Trumpers or the independents who swing back and forth each time got a sense of really where it was coming from. Make sure that was clear, make sure it was forward looking. Let's put some of the attention back on Joe Biden. So he had his objective that he wanted to reach, and I think he hit it.
Michael, one of the things I did think was in his favor was it was pretty powerful to listen to him list the accomplishments of his administration, and take you through some of the problems with the Joe Biden administration. It was like, when you listen to the actual plus column for him and minus column for Biden, it was good. It was powerful. And, Trump's always a relatively good spokesperson for it. He just didn't have the normal fire. And Trump on prompter is just nowhere near as good as Trump off prompter.
Right. I mean, I looked at the speech last night as like, and I don't mean to trivialize Donald Trump at all by saying this, but it felt like a stand-up comedian who is getting a new set of material together again. And that by the time he takes this material out on the road, tests lines, incorporates new current events that haven't occurred yet into his jokes, it's going to improve greatly from what we saw last night. I mean, by the end of the 2020 campaign, in his last rally in rural Pennsylvania, I mean, he was a master showman. And so I think you're right that he's starting with this base of, here are my accomplishments as president. Here's what's happened in the years since I left office. And where do you really stand, right? We have 10% inflation. We have a war going on in Ukraine that's potentially dangerous, that he implies wouldn't even be happening under his watch, and so he's presenting a compelling case to that independent swinging voter that Jason talked about, but he's only just beginning to reconnect with the deep Trump voter. I think the other thing that is working for him, and maybe others won't see it this way, is that we are almost back in 2016 again, or in 2015 again, with a lot of the Republican establishment aligning against him and aligning behind a popular Florida governor, with the media kind of all gathering against him. And I think he and his hardcore supporters thrive on that united opposition. I think that's when he kind of does his best work and when he makes himself most credible to his core base of supporters, as I am the only one standing up for you in this position. And so in a sense, like his weakness is his strength, right? The kind of divorce people are trying to effect between him and the Republican establishment, that's actually going to work for him going forward.
This is reminding me of the movie Jumanji, with Kevin Hart's character going, "How is strength my weakness?" Also, kick makes me explode. It's two of the greatest lines from that movie. So the thing is, Jason, the media did some interesting things last night. Okay, now the left-wing media, you won't be surprised, it was insane. They were trying so hard to outdo each other in their summary descriptions of Donald Trump. If you wanted to write a fair summary of Donald Trump in a paragraph, maybe you'd say, something about the fact that he appointed 3 Supreme Court justices, he pushed through the Abraham Accords, pushed through criminal justice reform, whatever, you could pick a lot, but also challenged the results of the 2020 election and ultimately led to a violent riot at the Capitol. Okay, you could say that. You could come up with a balanced, did some things, that, were universally hailed by GOP and some Dems, and did some things that were condemned by most Dems and Republicans. This is how NPR went. Breaking. Donald Trump, who tried to overthrow the results of the 2020 presidential election and inspired a deadly riot at the Capitol in a desperate attempt to keep himself in power, has filed to run for president again in 2024. The liberal blue checks went nuts. They loved that one. Okay, here's Washington Post. The twice impeached former President Donald Trump, 76, who refused to concede in the 2020 election and is the subject of multiple criminal investigations, is running again in 2024, increasing the likelihood of a potential rematch with President Biden. New York Times got in trouble with some of its liberal followers for only using the following lead line. Donald J. Trump, whose historically divisive presidency shook the pillars of the country's democratic institutions, on Tuesday night declared his intention to seek the White House again. That wasn't angry enough for the liberals following that. And on it goes. So to Michael's point, I mean, this is catnip for Trump's base. They love this stuff.
Well, it is. And I have a unique perspective in that 2016, I was actually working for and supporting Senator Ted Cruz in the primary and then joined President Trump in the general election. So I saw it from the other side. And the thing that was not clear to us immediately, it should have been, but this was kind of President Trump's superpower, so to speak, is that the more that there was a piling on from whether it be the Washington establishment or the media, then he just seemed to grow in strength. It's like the energy guy in Spider-Man, where the more you attack him, just the bigger and stronger he gets. And to see the out of control, unhinged reaction from the media, Megyn, you read the headlines, but if you look at NewYorkTimes.com or NYTimes.com right now, they're literally, I think it's 7 out of the first 9 stories are anti-Trump leads. It's so over the top and so crazy. There's a certain snapback effect that many of the sometimes Trumpers, when they see those attacks from the media, they're like, wait a minute, why are they attacking our guy? We need to fall into the position of supporting President Trump. Or even as we saw with Michael, which at the time, the initial publication with National Review, they had the essays against President Trump, and that only bolstered him, and he got stronger. I think even beyond the media, I think even when you look at some of the donor heavyweights who come out, the Ken Griffins, the Steve Schwartzmans in the last couple of days, those are not exactly the poster children of the Republican base that you want out there cheering either or for your side. I mean, those are the people President Trump's kind of running against. So it's good they're doing it. I do have to say, though, because Megyn, I'm usually pretty tough on the media. I do have to say that I thought the Wall Street Journal's news story today, I thought was very fair, probably the best of the mainstream outlets. I think Alex Leary is a very fair journalist. And CNN, believe it or not, actually did cover the first 20, 25 minutes of President Trump's speech last night. And so I got to give credit where it's due because I do beat up on these guys quite a bit.
Carmen in Cedar Rapids, Iowa says, I have struggled to find a product that did not irritate my skin. This is the only one I've been able to use without problems. Not only do I love it, but my skin feels like velvet. Love, love, love it, she writes. From now through Thanksgiving, treat yourself to Genucel's most popular package. That's all their best stuff for 70% off at Genucel.com right now. It is the only skincare products you will ever need. Right now, every one of their most popular packages will include Genucel's hyaluronic acid correcting serum for free. Genucel products delight men and women with inspiring results by correcting your daily skin problems, whether it's wrinkles, dark spots, dry skin, sagging jawlines, facial redness, even those annoying bags and puffiness you sometimes get. And with its immediate effects product, Genucel guarantees results in as little as 12 hours or your money back. Order now at Genucel.com/MK60. Your most popular package also includes a holiday gift set plus free express shipping. That's GENUCEL.com/MK60. Genucel.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.